Hey guys, ECRG here, back with another episode. Today I've got a viewer submitted question. And this person writes in, "Hey, great fan of your podcast. Always listening to it on my way to work in the morning. I'm a clinical research assistant with some experience in data analytics, looking for a career in clinical operations. I have a question and possible topic for another podcast episode. I'm always trying to stay up to date with the current industry news, and therefore I'm heavily interested in centralized and risk-based monitoring in the digital future of clinical trial monitoring. Who do you think will be working as a central monitor? What are the skills required, and how can I better prepare now to get such a job in the future? If you have already talked about that, could you maybe hook me up with the episode number or numbers? Cheers." So, for those of them been listening to the channel or the podcast for a long time, you guys know I've done episodes before on central monitoring and a little bit about it. But we've got a lot of new people in the clinical research community and a lot of new subscribers in that time. So I'm realizing that I should probably rehash some of the old episodes or do those again for all the new people on the channel. Thank you guys for subscribing, of course, and thank you guys for supporting as always. So, the first question that they ask that I want to respond to is, who do you think will be working as a central monitor? So, there are already central monitors working in the industry right now. Now, who are these people? Now, one of the weird things about the industry is that there'll be same title, or same job function, but different title. So you may have a central monitor at one company, you may have what's called a remote CRA at another company, or you might have an in-house CRA at another company. All three different titles, but doing the same function or similar function with different nuances. So a central monitor, I know there's some companies that have this. This is a remote CRA. They are calling sites. They are doing monitoring, so-called monitoring visits, but these are remote monitoring visits, so they do them over the phone. They will ask them about SAEs. They will ask them to answer queries. They'll ask them to put data in EDC. They'll remind them about certain things about the study. They will help them with enrollment. Similar things that the CRA doesn't necessarily have to focus on when they're on site. The central monitor will kind of take that burden off of them and definitely help the CRA when they're on site also. They work in conjunction with the CRA. So that's one model. Another model is you've got an in-house CRA, which, there's a gamut of responsibilities that some companies have when it comes to the in-house CRA position. The in-house CRA can be very similar to the position I just mentioned, the central monitor position, doing remote data review, telling the sites to recruit better, talking with the study coordinators, blah, blah, blah. Basically what I just said. Other companies will have the in-house CRA just collecting documents from the sites and scanning them into the TMF. That's also considered an in-house CRA at some companies. So you've got to be careful and look at the job description when you're applying for these jobs or when you want a job at a particular place to make sure it's the actual job that you want in the actual role and has the actual responsibilities that you're actually looking for. Because very common in the industry is to have different title, same responsibility, or different responsibilities, same title. So when it comes to the question like who will work in these positions, these are positions that you can go get now. You just have to look at the role, like I said. So former study coordinators are great in these roles. Other people that work in, maybe on the project management side of things, but want to switch over to the clinical operations side, but don't necessarily want to travel. This role would be perfect for those people. So those are the type of people that are interested in these roles. I was in a role like this before I became a CRA. So a great role. It's good. It's a good stepping stone if you're in an entry-level position now. You want to get some experience in clinical operations before making the jump to CRA. It's a great role. Or if you're having a hard time making that jump to CRA, go ahead and jump in a central monitor role. That'll add more experience to your belt, get you experience talking to sites, getting that closer relationship with sites, and it's going to help you in the interview when you're interviewing for your first CRA position. So I would definitely recommend that. It's a great role, and Some places it's entry level, other places it's not. Now, some companies are kind of moving more towards the central monitor being entry level, because if they're doing a lot of the CRA work, then they can pay the CRAs less, because the CRAs command so much more money than other people on the team. So that's interesting. I don't think that's going to happen everywhere, just because CRAs are highly skilled, but it's definitely something to think about. So that answers your question. Who do you think will be working as a central monitor? And then what are the skills required, and how can you prepare to get such a job in the future? So honestly, you're working as a clinical research assistant now. So you didn't really specify if that is in the clinical research industry, or if that is maybe like a bench research position or something like that. So I'm going to assume it's in the clinical research industry, and you've already got some experience under your belt. So you should be able to apply for a role like that right now. So I know there's companies like Syneos Health. They have central monitor positions. That's a CRO. There are other companies with remote CRA positions. I think Docs Icon, don't quote me on that, have those titles, but there's a bunch of those out there. And I've said this before in other episodes, and I'll say it again. One of the best ways to find jobs is through Indeed. So what I do is I just type in clinical research associate, check that every single day, because that brings up CRA jobs, that brings up the entry level project specialist, project coordinator, clinical trial assistant jobs, brings up project management jobs, and of course it'll bring up central monitor jobs. So that's what I would do. Also, if you know people at these companies that do have them, tell them to keep an eye out for you, and check that website every single day if you're really interested, because they're going to put them on the website. And to answer your question about the skills required, these type of skills are going to be, you got to be comfortable talking to people on the phone. You've got to be great with email, great with organization, great with attention to detail, those type of skills. So the skills you would have developed and fostered in your entry-level clinical research role, most likely. Of course, you've got to be familiar with your essential documents. You got to be familiar with your TMF also, the TMF, and how to put things into the TMF. So that's what I would say regarding that. Great role, great position. I think there will be more of these positions opening up in the coming 5 years or so. But do not look at these positions to replace CRAs 100%. The CRA role will just adapt. And there are more and more studies coming out every single day, every single year. So they're going to need people like these central monitors to kind of ease the burden, and they have a lot of great functions and cool things that you can do with them as well. So that's what I would say about the central monitor position. And it's a great role. Look out for it. And it's a great position if you want to become a CRA one day too. So that's what I would say. As always, guys, thank you for your questions. Email me, eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com, if you have a question of your own that you would like me to answer. And take care.